Hey guys, and welcome. When I think about things that have really resonated with me or have left a lasting impact on me, sooner or later, Black Mirror will be brought up. And I remember to this day when I came across season 3 on Netflix, and I know that the first episode that I watched was called Nosedive, and I loved it. The idea, especially back then, just seems so novel and so well executed, at least for most of them, without seeming too cliche. So I watched season 1 and 2 and finished season 3 in one sitting, and immediately looked up when season 4 was going to be coming out, which season 4 not as groundbreaking as the previous 3. But I'm just not sure how Charlie Brooker, who's the writer for the vast majority of the episodes, comes up with these ideas continuously. He really is outstanding. Naturally, some episodes are better than others, and some seasons I found so disappointing that I want to forget about those entirely. But either way, my list of the most traumatizing / best, which I guess is a term that's interchangeable on this channel, will be highly subjective and not necessarily a reflection of the most popular episodes. Rather, I wanted to focus on the ones that to this day cross my mind here and there, even though it's been years since I last saw them. Also, keep in mind that there will be spoilers. I just didn't really want to end each recommendation with something along the lines of you'll have to watch it for yourself to see what happens, as that would kind of defeat the purpose of the video altogether. So yeah, thanks for watching. Season 1, 15 Million Merits. 15 Million Merits takes place in a sealed, fluorescent world where every surface is a screen and every citizen's life revolves around earning digital credits. People live in glass cubicles that bombard them with ads from the moment they wake to the moment they fall asleep. Their only job is to pedal stationary bikes, generating energy while accumulating merits, which can then be used for the workers' needs such as food, toiletries, or even the ability to skip the commercials. Life is a cycle of pedaling, eating prepackaged meals, and continuously watching the compulsory entertainment. If you look away from an ad, the screen freezes and an alarm demands you pay merits to continue. Every day looks exactly the same. Getting ahead seems impossible. We follow a young man named Bing, a quiet writer with a sizable inheritance of merits from his deceased brother. Bing drifts through this monotony in a kind of numb resignation. He notices the different ways people cope. Some shout and compete for high scores. Others blankly pedal while watching the ads. Bing himself hoards his merits, buying only the bare minimum, while the system pushes him to waste them on upgrades for his digital self. One morning in the cafeteria, Bing hears a young woman named Abby sing softly to herself. Clearly, it's been a long time since anything has piqued his interest, and he's completely captivated. When the two talk, Abby admits she likes to sing but has no ambitions. Bing urges her to audition for Hot Shot, a massive televised talent show that promises fame and a luxurious life outside the bikes. A ticket costs an impossible 15 million merits. Without telling her at first, Bing empties the inheritance he has carefully saved and buys the entry fee for her, pressing the glowing pass into her hand. Abby reluctantly agrees, and they travel to the studio, a dazzling set where contestants perform before 3 smirking celebrity judges and a screaming digital audience. Abby sings beautifully, moving the crowd and momentarily silencing the cynicism of the judges. But their praise twists into something absolutely terrifying. They tell her voice is fine, but that she has a sensual look better suited to Wraith Babes, the network's adult entertainment channel. In front of the audience, Abby hesitates, humiliated, while the judges insist that this is her only real chance at a better life. Under the hot lights and deafening cheers, she finally accepts. Bing watches helplessly as she's led away, devastated that his sacrifices further fed the machine he hates more than anything. Back in his glass cube, Bing spirals. Ads for Wraith Babes begin featuring Abby in explicit performances. He smashes his walls, screams, and sinks into grief. But then he has an idea. He begins saving merits again with manic determination, skipping meals and working himself to exhaustion. He hides a shard of glass from a broken bottle, fashioning it into a small knife, and tapes it to his leg as he pedals day after day. It becomes clear that he's going to do something dramatic in order to get revenge on the system that took away the only thing that had brought him hope. Months later, much skinnier and exhausted from the intense labor and no breaks, Bing purchases a hotshot ticket for himself. During his audition, he dances awkwardly at first, holding the hidden blade to his neck. When the judges try to cut him off, he explodes into a furious monologue. He condemns the entire society, its endless screens, its exploitation of pain and talent. He threatens to kill himself on live television if they interrupt. His raw anger and the sight of the shard at his throat stun the judges and get the audience to pay close attention to what he has to say. In their eyes, they're witnessing nothing but an original spectacle. Instead of finally showing a sliver of humanity, the judges smile and offer Bing his own primetime slot. A half-hour show where he can broadcast rants like this twice a week, complete with a bigger apartment and premium benefits. After a tense pause, Bing accepts. The final scenes show him in a larger, gleaming glass penthouse, gazing out at a manufactured landscape. He delivers passionate speeches to an eager audience, the shard of glass now encased in a stylish handle, a prop rather than a weapon. Below him, the rows of bikes keep spinning. By the end, the system hasn't silenced Bing's rage. It has bought it, polished it, and sold it back to the masses. What began as an authentic cry for freedom becomes another commodity in the endless cycle of consumption. It's got to be one of the most chilling endings. It's just so demotivating, and while judging Bing, we really can't blame him for taking them up on the offer. After all, if not him, someone else would have taken the spot. Also, a quick side note. Has anyone else noticed the song from the ads, from the Wraith Babes? Sounds just like the beginning of Manson's Angel with Scabbed Wings. I've thoroughly searched the internet in the hopes of anyone else noticing it, but to no avail. Season 2, White Christmas. For Season 2, I was torn between White Bear and White Christmas, finally deciding on featuring White Christmas as I found the premise more novel. So White Christmas begins in a lonely, snowbound outpost where two men, Joe and Matt, prepare a holiday meal. They've been stationed together for years, but barely speak. To break the silence and pass the time, Matt suggests swapping stories. Matt's first tale is about his secret side hustle. He runs a remote dating coach service using an augmented reality implant that lets him see through the client's eyes and whisper advice in their ear. One job ends in horror when the shy client's seduction turns into a murder-suicide, leaving Matt to watch helplessly as authorities close in. Even though he manages to avoid prison time, his ex-wife blocks him using this technology that basically turns his silhouette into a bunch of pixels. This blocking makes it impossible for you to communicate with those who decided to block you. But Matt has another story. He once worked for a company that cookies people. It extracts the person's consciousness in order to run smart homes. Of course, nobody knows you and your habits as well as you know yourself. So the person signing up for the service has no idea they're imprisoning a copy of their consciousness and basically sentencing it to a life filled with menial tasks. He describes training a new cookie, convincing a digital clone that time is passing at a punishing rate until it breaks and finally agrees to spend its days completing tasks like opening and closing the blinds, creating schedules, setting the alarm, in perpetuity, while sitting in an empty room with no hope of ever getting out. Finally, Joe, encouraged by Matt's openness, decides to share his own past. After a drunken argument, his girlfriend Beth blocked him permanently, even when she discovered she was pregnant. For years, Joe tried his best to try and make contact with Beth, obviously in vain, as in her eyes he was blocked, reduced to a blob of pixels. When Beth died in an accident, the block remained, with Joe still unable to see or make contact with the daughter. Obsessed, Joe tracked the girl to her grandfather's remote house one snowy night. There, he realizes the girl was not his daughter, as she didn't resemble him in the slightest. It dawns on him that Beth must have had an affair. Joe feels so angry and betrayed, he lashes out, striking the old man dead with a snow globe and leaving the child to freeze in the storm. We then learn the two men were not in the cabin at all. The outpost is not real. It's a construct inside Joe's cookie, a digital interrogation cell. Matt, disgraced for his earlier crimes, cut a deal to get a confession out of Joe. Outside, police watch monitors as Joe's digital self loops endlessly, serving 1,000 subjective years of guilt, while mere minutes pass in the real world. Matt finally walks free, but he quickly realizes that due to his crimes, he is now blocked by society at large. Alone, he may not be in prison, but he's unable to see or communicate with anyone else, which sounds like a sentence worse than imprisonment. Season 3, Shut Up and Dance. In this episode, we follow a 16-year-old Kenny, who seems like any awkward kid. He works at a fast food joint, helps his sister with chores, and spends evenings glued to his laptop. One night he downloads what he thinks is a simple antivirus program. Hidden inside is a malware that hijacks his webcam. Unaware of the virus's presence, Kenny starts watching something on his computer as he unzips his zipper. Within hours, an anonymous figure sends a message. "We saw what you were doing. Obey, or we share the video." The threat of having the video sent to everyone absolutely mortifies the teen, and he becomes a ball of nerves. He doesn't contact the police, just decides to do whatever is asked of him in hopes that the hacker will spare him. First, it's small humiliations. Leave work early, bike to a downtown location, pick up a package. Then it escalates. At each drop point, Kenny encounters other blackmailed strangers, all receiving a cryptic text from the same faceless entity. Kenny is sent to meet a man named Hector, who claims he was caught arranging a meet with a sex worker, and the texts are now asking him to either cooperate or his wife will learn of his unfaithfulness. Hector angrily obliges and follows the instructions. He gets into a car with Kenny and erratically drives towards the destination chosen by the hacker. The instructions start getting terrifying, as the hacker now asks the man to rob a bank. They decide Kenny will go into the bank, threaten the teller with a provided pistol, and get the cash, while Hector remains in the vehicle as their driver. You can tell how terrified Kenny is as he trembles through it all and involuntarily urinates from fear. But he's too terrified of exposure to resist the instructions from the hacker. Finally, Kenny runs out of the bank and they speed through the city towards their next imposed destination. We get the glimpse of other victims, each trapped in their own coercive side quest, all linked by the same anonymous menace. Finally, the instructions split them up. Kenny is sent alone into a forest clearing with a duffel bag. There, another blackmail victim waits, holding a knife. Both have been told only one will leave. As the other man asks Kenny how old they were, we are met with the shocking realization that Kenny's main fear wasn't that people would see him in a compromised position. He was afraid people would learn he views child sexual abuse material. The hacker's voice urges them on in their phones. Fight! What begins as a digital prank turns into violence. We don't see the full struggle, just the frantic sounds and the aftermath, as a bloodied Kenny stumbles out, weapon still in hand. He made it. But then, we hear the familiar ping of another text coming through. And then the final gut punch. The hackers release every victim's secrets anyway. Hector is exposed to his family. Other strangers' scandals flood the internet. Police swarm Kenny's home as his mother wails. Alright, so those are my favorite 3 episodes from the first 3 seasons of Black Mirror. I didn't want to make this video an hour long, so there will be a part 2. Thank you so much for watching, and let me know what your favorite episodes from the first 3 seasons are, and why. Thanks again for being here. Bye!